learning completely transforms our brains. Scientists have found it actually increases gray matter density and neural connectivity in ways no other skill can match. Today, we're exploring a fascinating case study in how languages are taught and absorbed.
That's such an interesting point about brain plasticity. And what we're seeing in this language lesson really demonstrates those neurological principles in action.
Well, you know what really caught my attention? The way they structured everything from absolute basics, starting with hello, and systematically building up to complex conversations. It's like watching someone construct a neural network in real time.
Hmm. That reminds me of Dr. Krashen's input hypothesis, the idea that we acquire language in a predictable order, with each new concept building on previously mastered elements.
Right. And research shows learners need about 7 to 8 meaningful exposures to a new word before it becomes part of their active vocabulary. The way they're incorporating multiple exposures here aligns perfectly with those findings.
You know what's fascinating about their approach? Studies have shown that contextual learning increases vocabulary retention by up to 40% compared to rote memorization.
Speaking of retention, let me tell you about something I noticed in their number teaching approach. They immediately connected abstract concepts to physical realities. Studies from MIT show this kind of embodied learning activates multiple neural pathways simultaneously.
That's exactly what cognitive scientists call multimodal learning, engaging different sensory inputs to strengthen memory formation.
Well, what really impressed me was their approach to error correction. According to recent studies, excessive correction can increase cortisol levels by up to 30%, literally blocking the learning process.
That reminds me. Did you see that 2022 study showing how positive reinforcement actually increases dopamine production, enhancing both motivation and memory formation?
You know what's wild? Research indicates that those strategic pauses they're using, what educators call wait time, can improve language retention by up to 25%. The brain literally needs that processing time.
So, interesting you mentioned that. Neurolinguists have found that these micropauses activate the same brain regions involved in both language processing and memory consolidation.
Like, what really fascinates me is how they're subtly incorporating cultural elements throughout the lesson. Studies show that cultural context can improve language acquisition rates by up to 35%.
Well, that ties into what anthropological linguists call pragmatic competence, understanding not just the words, but their cultural weight.
Speaking of cultural weight, recent research from Stanford shows that connecting language learning to daily routines can increase long-term retention by up to 45%.
That's such a crucial point about embedding learning in familiar contexts. It's what cognitive scientists call scaffolding.
You know what's really mind-blowing? Studies show that this kind of structured language learning actually increases cognitive flexibility and decision-making abilities in other areas of life.
Hmm. And recent neuroimaging studies have shown increased connectivity between different brain regions in multilingual individuals.
Well, here's something that surprised me. Research indicates that even brief exposure to new language patterns can create lasting neural pathways. It's like the brain is constantly rewiring itself.
That's fascinating. And it explains why they're so careful about spacing out new concepts throughout the lesson.
Looking at the broader implications, this kind of structured language learning could have huge potential for educational reform. Studies show early language exposure can increase IQ scores by up to 40%.
And don't forget the economic impact. Bilingual employees earn on average 5 to 20% more than their monolingual counterparts.
So, what do you think are the key takeaways for anyone trying to learn or teach a new language?
Well, based on the research we've discussed, it seems clear that successful language learning requires structured exposure, cultural context, and positive reinforcement.
And let's not forget the importance of those strategic pauses and multiple exposures. The brain needs time to process and integrate new information.
Looking ahead, how do you think these principles might evolve with new technology and teaching methods?
Well, I think we'll see more personalized learning approaches that adapt to individual learning styles, while maintaining these core principles of structured exposure and cultural integration. The future of language learning is really about combining what we know about neuroscience with emerging technologies.
That's such an important point about the future. We're really just scratching the surface of understanding how language learning shapes our brains and societies.
Well, I think we've given our listeners plenty to think about when it comes to the science and art of language learning. Until next time, everyone,